Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daryan Jones. I'm the Caregiver Education and Digital Specialist at Care Partners. We're back today for another Hot Topic Live segment. Today, we're going to be talking all about in-home care, what it is, the different kinds, and how to choose the best kind of in-home care for you. Just certain things to think about and questions that you might want to ask yourself before jumping into a situation. We are going to have a very special guest. His name is Chip. He's joining us from LivHOME. It's a great organization. He's going to tell us about them a little bit as well. So before we get started, I wanted to give you guys a really quick update. With this week, Mother's Day is just around the corner. So we decided to do a Mother's Day photo shoot contest. If you guys want to participate in that, you can either comment your picture on one of our Facebook posts. There's a couple of posts going around with more details on that. Or you can email us at info@carepartnerstexas.org. And here it says you can just comment your picture below. So if you want to go find one of the Facebook posts that talks about the contest, that'd be great. Other than that, we are still continuing to do our Common Ground support groups. We switched over to Zoom. So we were doing it through the phone, and now we're doing Zoom. So you guys want more information, you can find that on our website, as well as a bunch of other resources and updates on coronavirus and just what we're doing to monitor the situation. The last update I'm going to give you guys before we get started is Care Partners has suspended all of our in-person programming until May 31st. So once that date rolls around, we're going to reevaluate everything, and we're going to see about going forward from there. Because our main goal, of course, is to make sure that everyone is safe and healthy. So with that, though, we're going to go ahead with the topic this afternoon, and we're going to welcome Chip. Hi, Chip. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Daryan. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great. We're really excited about this segment, and thank you so much for joining us. Will you tell us just a little bit about yourself and LivHOME?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Mother's Day to moms out there. My name is Chip Entz. I'm Executive Director with LivHOME here in Houston. I've got over 20 years of healthcare management experience. I'm a member of the American College of Healthcare Executives, a member of the American Association of Talent Development. I'm a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason. I'm also an active member of Rotary Club International, the Shriners International Organization, and my most important gig is for the last 20 years, I have been very proud and very blessed to serve as the drummer for my church's worship team. So partnering with Care Partners is something that's incredibly important to me, as certainly my faith, I believe, has led me to this moment and led me to the world of senior care, something that I'm very, very passionate about, and something that really motivates me. In fact, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning without an alarm clock because I love my job and I love the clients that we serve.
We're really excited to have you and all of your experience. You come with a lot of it. So I guess with that, we can just go ahead and get started with the topic today.
Sure. Fantastic. Thanks, Daryan. Again, I am Executive Director with LivHOME here in Houston. Our company provides care management and senior home care services, but we also provide services to special needs adults throughout the metropolitan Houston area and, in fact, across the country. LivHOME was started about 30 years ago out in California, where our corporate office is based in Los Angeles. We were the pioneer of senior care and care management, the first company that came up with the concept of providing caregivers to folks within their homes to lessen the burden on the families. We're also the largest and fastest growing privately held care management and home care company, and the largest employer of life care managers, which we'll get to in just a moment, with over 75 LCMs that are a part of our organization. The topic today, how to select a home care company, is a very important one, especially in light of the recent developments related to COVID-19, the emphasis on providing not just quality senior care, but superior senior care has been taken to the next level. We're unfortunately faced daily with the news reports of assisted living facilities, independent living facilities across the United States that are being impacted and affected by the coronavirus. So this is a great time for this topic, And I'm thrilled to share the information with you and be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. If you want to put that in your chat box, or at the end, we'll open it up should anyone want to ask additional questions. First of all, I want to be clear. I'm not here to sell my company. I'm not here to sell LivHOME, although I do believe that we make a very compelling choice as a home care provider to be considered. Rather, I really want to share with you important aspects to look for in choosing the right company for your needs or the needs of your family. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. But before we get to that, I think it's really important that we take just a moment to define a couple of terms, and so that we can really understand those before we move forward. The first term is care management. Most home care companies that you might speak with are going to talk about some level of providing care management services. But that's unfortunately loosely defined in our industry, and not everyone speaks the same language when they say care management. When I talk about care management, I'm talking about really looking at the comprehensive 360-degree needs of a client. Most companies have a layman, people like you and I, that don't have formalized medical training in the world of senior care, but are leaders of the organization, and they more or less just kind of wing the plan of care, what we call the POC, for the clients. They do a great job in that regard, but they're not specifically trained to deliver effective 360-degree care management modeling for the clients in conjunction with the desires and wishes of the family. The second subset of home care companies are those that offer some level of folks that are leading that plan of care that have medical training, vis-a-vis nurses, an RN, an LVN, and then the plan of care might be executed by a CNA, a certified nursing assistant. But they will come in and do an assessment, and then typically those plans of care, while also very good, and I think more enhanced than what you might find with a layman, they're going to be more myopically focused on the medical or the physical needs of the client, which certainly are very, very important. The third group, of which LivHOME is a member, and a fairly small group of companies here in Houston and throughout the United States, offer a really robust care management program. We employ social workers instead of nurses or lay people. These are social workers that have their masters in social work and are professionally licensed by the Aging Life Care Association of America. It's a comprehensive 4-hour examination that they go through to demonstrate a proficiency in working with seniors. And in fact, our life care manager here in Houston is certified in gerontology. These folks really look at the 360-degree needs of the client to not only include the medical needs, but also the psychological, the social, and in many aspects, the most important, the spiritual needs of the client. And why is that important? Why not just focus on the physical? The fact of the matter is that oftentimes seniors don't die of a heart attack or a stroke or other infirmities. Rather, the root cause of that is depression. Depression is something that really sets in as seniors look at what was once an ocean of friends dwindles to a lake of friends, dwindles to a pond of friends, and finally down to a puddle of friends. I saw it firsthand. My grandmother, God bless her soul, rest in peace, lived a great 100-year life up in Tyler, Texas. And she actually had 3 caregivers, all in their late 70s, early 80s, taking care of her, if you can imagine that. But what we saw firsthand in that regard was that the care management was focused really on the physical aspects and not on her mental needs. And so what we find out as we go through that is that seniors just lose the will to live. They lose the will to get out of bed put on their clothes, and live a full, happy, robust life. Now, with COVID, it's even more enhanced because many times these seniors are confined to their home. They have adult children that don't live in Houston, that are remote, and they're by themselves. They can pick up the phone and they can call people, but they really don't have access to the outside world. And that's where a life care manager really would make a lot of sense, that can call, check on them, do that video chatting with them just to make sure that their well-being is being looked after. The care managers also go out and look at, during their comprehensive 2-hour assessment, what the interests are of the client. Are they into needlepoint? Were they in the service? Are they veterans? Then we look at opportunities to get them out socially, to take them to a VFW hall or find a needle pointing group at a local seniors activity center in the community. And if they're spiritual, as we get older, we tend to get a little bit more spiritual, I've found. We also actively seek out Bible study groups, senior adult groups that meet in church communities, not unlike what we find with Care Partners, to really look after the spiritual needs, to give those clients their why to get out of bed every single day. Now, let's also just touch very quickly on the differences between medical and non-medical home care. First and foremost, medical home care is typically administered by nurses or other healthcare professionals that specifically tend to the physical or the medical aspects and needs of the client, or as they call them, the patient. They do little beyond that, really not a whole lot of home care per se. They're there for about an hour, and then they're on to the next client. Hospice care is very similar in that regard. They don't provide extended care. They come in, they tend to the immediate needs of their patient, and then they move on to the next patient. Contrast that with non-medical care, which is what we do. We really look and provide that truly comprehensive one-on-one care with the client, which includes bathing, assisting with toileting, meal preparation, light housekeeping, and transportation to and from the doctor, as well as to and from the grocery store, the hairdresser. Boy, I need a haircut, and other things. Typically, home care companies provide their services in private homes, independent living, and assisted living facilities, as well as memory care units. We have a client, several clients actually, that are in memory care that we provide some level of home care services. So with those couple of terms defined, let's pivot now and let's talk about the right company for your needs. First, it's really important to identify specifically what your needs are. And so you have to ask yourself questions like, what are our areas of need? Is it involving the home or living situation? Like, is the ensuring that the house is safe, doing grocery shopping and meal prep, doing housekeeping and laundry, and doing home repairs, yard maintenance, pet care, things of that nature? Do you need help with that, or is that something that you've already got covered? Look at things like financial affairs. Do you need help paying bills, managing household petty cash, helping with insurance paperwork, those types of things related to finance? We've got wealth managers, we've got financial planners, we've got CPAs, and we work with all of those individuals as an intermediary with the clients and the client families to ensure that all of those aspects are being met. Personal care. Do you need a home care company that's going to assist you with bathing, dressing, toileting, grooming, coordinating home care services, as well as with family and caregivers? Healthcare. Do you need help making, driving, and accompanying a loved one to medical appointments, making important medical decisions, overseeing medications and reminders, being present at the ER, God forbid, should something like that happen, and ensuring compliance with the doctor's plan? Transportation. Do you need help moving your loved one from point A to point B to point Z. Coordinating rides and transportations to doctor's appointments is a regular occurrence with us. We have a 4-hour minimum. That can be once a day, once a week, once a month, or once a year. We have some clients that we give a ride to the grocery store and to the hairdresser every week, every Monday for 4 hours, and then that's good for the week. Others, we get a phone call and say, hey, I just need a ride to an outpatient procedure and a ride home. Well, you need to ask yourself, is that what we're looking for? And then communication is obviously important, making sure that you've got good communication with the caregiving company. Do you need help with community resources? And then finally, coordination and oversight. So those are some of the things that you need to ascertain or need to determine on your own. And we can help you with that if you need to go over that list more comprehensively. But you really need to answer those questions before you move to step 2, which is identifying and considering the right company for you as far as care management and home care services go. The first question that you have to ask nowadays to anyone that you're seeking services is, do you provide PTO or sick time to your caregivers? That seems pretty obvious, but I'll elaborate a little bit on that because we just had a client. She called and said, we love you guys, but we found a company that's $3 an hour cheaper, and for economic reasons, we need to go with them. Understandable. No hard feelings. We want them to feel good about who they go with. She called me a week later, and she said, Chip, I need to get LivHOME back in here immediately. The other company sent a caregiver that was COVID positive to my mom's house. And so now my mom is at the emergency room at the hospital getting tested for COVID because the other company's caregiver didn't have sick time. So she needed a paycheck. So sadly, she put the financial needs, which I can understand, but she put the client in danger over that. So it's absolutely critical that you ask questions like that right up front. Do you have a PTO or sick time policy for your caregivers? Will they get paid if they get sick? Because if the answer is no, that should be a red flag for you right there, that there could be potential problems that you can avoid up front. Looking at things like, do they provide a thorough care assessment by a credentialed professional up front to really identify the needs? Do they have a personalized plan of care? Do they have information, referrals, which that's something that's really important too. Go on Google. Go do a Google search for the companies that you're looking at and get their reviews. See what other people say about their experience, and that will tell you a lot of what you can expect. Do they provide on-site personalized training and supervision of caregivers? Do they deliver services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? What happens when a caregiver gets sick? Can you replace that person? That's something that's also very, very important. There's a whole host of other questions that you'll want to ask them. And if you'd like that comprehensive list, feel free to reach out to me. And I believe Daryan will provide my contact information to go over those questions that you need to ask of caregiving services that will help you decide what makes the most sense. Now, I've only got a few very quick minutes left in this short presentation, but I do want to touch on the important subject of private caregivers. There are perhaps some people on this call that utilize or have utilized private caregivers in the past, and certainly there's nothing wrong with that. My grandmother was the benefactor of 3 lovely private caregivers, but there are a few things that you need to consider and think about when you bring a private caregiver in. First and foremost, private caregivers, by and large, are not credentialed. They don't go through TB testing. They don't go through a criminal background check, a reference check, and other background checks, a drug screen, things that are very important when it comes to taking care of your loved ones and having someone come into your home. They don't have insurance. They don't have malpractice insurance typically. So if they do something wrong, you have no other recourse. You have no financial recourse to go after these folks for providing substandard care. They often have no professional training or follow-up. And it goes back to that first and foremost important question that we have for home care companies. They don't have a PTO plan for themselves. So if they get up in the morning, they've got a little bit of a fever, maybe a little cough, they're not feeling right. You know what? It's probably just allergies. I'm going to go to work. Is it allergies or is it something more serious? You just don't know, but you're taking a risk with that for sure. Another thing that's really important to note with regard to private caregivers, and this is not something that I'm qualified to address, but you will want to talk with your CPA or financial advisor or other tax professional. But my understanding is that the IRS looks at private caregivers in one of two ways. Either they're your employee, that you have to pay taxes, unemployment insurance, employee withholding, and all of the other things that an employer would have to cover for an employee. Or the second category that they would have to fall into is that of an independent contractor. As an independent contractor, you're required to file a Form 1099 on behalf of that caregiver to note their employment and the wages that you paid to them. Another thing to think about as well in private caregiving is if they get sick, if they do get up in the morning and say, whoa, I got a big fever, I can't go to work, you often have no other recourse. You don't have coverage to take care of your loved one, and you're kind of stuck. Last but not least, you need to check with your insurance agent regarding your current coverage in that regard, because we recently became aware of a caregiver, private caregiver, working in a lady's home that tripped and fell and injured herself. She had been taking care of this woman for a long time, I think a period of years, very close with the family. And suddenly she turned around and filed a big lawsuit against the family for being injured in their home. And there was a big problem with the insurance. So you probably want to check with your insurance provider to make sure that having a private caregiver in your home on a regular basis is something that you're covered for. It may necessitate you picking up a fairly inexpensive rider, but it's better safe than sorry when it comes to that. In closing, with regard to private caregivers, they certainly are an economical choice, but at the same time, private caregivers come with a price. Again, my name is Chip Entz. I'm proud to be the executive director with LivHOME here in Houston. And at this time, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone might have or any comments.
Thank you so much, Chip. You brought up a lot of things that I personally have never thought about, and I think it's so important that you ask all of these questions before you jump into something, and then you have to deal with the consequences. We'll take a look at the comments real quick. It doesn't look like we have too many comments right now, but I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
What is something that in-home care providers offer or help with that most people didn't know that they do?
Well, one of the most important things I think that we offer, Daryan, is companionship. We talked about during the presentation today that depression kills, and it's a leading cause of death for many seniors. And there's just something about forming that bond. We've been, and I've been very moved by that. We recently and sadly had a couple of clients that we've provided services to for an extended period of time. And during the COVID crisis, only 10 people were allowed to attend the client's funeral. And one of the adult children, her son, called and said, Chip, your caregivers are like part of our family. And we've only got 10 slots for our loved ones to attend her memorial service, but we want 2 of those slots to be given to your caregivers that brought such joy to her life over those many years. And boy, that really hit me, Daryan. That really smacked me in the forehead and said, what we do really matters to these people, and it really makes a positive impact on their life.
I love that story. That's so sweet. Yeah, one of my favorite parts about it too is I feel like the community that we serve at Care Partners is often overlooked and a lot of the times kind of left behind. And I just think that it's the worst thing that we can do. They're just because they're amazing people and they've done amazing things, and being able to help them now is just so important to me. Another question. Do you guys know if you guys or are there services out there that provide 24-hour care, or is it just for a few hours, or how does that timing work?
Sure, that's a great question, Daryan. We provide care 4 hours a day, once a week, once a month, once a year, up to full-time 24/7 care. There's not a contract that you have to sign. You're not obligated beyond that 4 hours. We take very specific steps. Our life care manager, part of her expertise, part of her professional training, allows her to create the perfect match. So we look at the personalities of the caregiver, then the personality of the client, and make sure that we put someone that's extroverted with someone that's outgoing. We don't put a quiet person with an outgoing person or vice versa. But typically 4 hours is the minimum, Daryan, but we do have a number of folks that we provide 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and 24/7 care in private homes, assisted living, independent living, and memory care facilities.
So it can be very personalized. That's what it sounds like.
It's a customized plan. Absolutely. It can be 6 hours, 8, 10. We've got people all over the place. But the bottom line is we want to save people money. We want to provide care for their loved ones with the peace of mind that they're well taken care of, that their needs are being met, and that they can sleep at night. There's something to be said for that. And you mentioned what Care Partners does in faith-based communities throughout the metropolitan Houston area. And I got to echo and thank you guys for what you do for seniors and for caregivers out there. I happen to attend a caregiver support group in Katy at a Catholic church and have really connected with those people. Again, I'm not there to sell them on anything. And in fact, I go out of my way not to sell them. But it's so important to me to give back to our seniors. They are the backbone of our country, and our company. But these folks really deserve the extra special care that you guys provide to them at Care Partners and that we provide to them at LivHOME.
Well, thank you so much for that. And that's, like you said, our whole goal is to provide support, education, and resources in any way that we can, and really meet the caregiver where they're at. So we really do appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. You shared some really, really great information. So I'm going to be turning this into a blog post very soon. So if you guys want to rewatch this or read some more about it, you guys can check that out on our website. I'm going to put your contact information up on the screen one more time. And we're going to say goodbye to Chip for now, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daryan. It's really been an honor and a pleasure to address the group. And again, if anyone has any questions, anything at all that I can help you with, I am available all the time. If you got a pen handy, I'll give my cell phone number out as well. I'm like 7-Eleven. I'm open 24/7, and I'm happy to help anybody anytime. My cell phone number, if you need any kind of assistance or guidance, don't hesitate to reach out. It's 832-439-3990. And again, my name is Chip, C-H-I-P, Entz, E-N-T-Z, with LivHOME. Thanks again, Daryan. I've really enjoyed this opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Take care. Bye.
And thank you guys so much for watching. We are so glad to be able to provide these resources for you guys during this time. And as I said, if you guys want to share what you guys have been up to, or just let us know how you guys are doing, feel free to email us at info@carepartnerstexas.org. And remember to share your photos with us for the Mother's Day photo shoot contest. We're really excited about that. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you back very soon.